The following presentation identifies new rules as published by the NFHS. Colorado-specific information has also been included. Rule 1-4-3, Representation Exception. An exception has been added allowing a wrestler to compete in 6 matches per day during the postseason only. Rule 4-4-1A, Weight Classifications. Rule 4-4-1A establishes weight classifications for girls with 12, 13, or 14 weight classes to be selected. In conjunction with Rule A, Rule 4-4-1B modifies the weight classifications for boys with 12, 13, or 14 weight classes to be selected. In both rules, July 1, 2023 is an effective by date. One of the listed weight classifications may be selected for adoption by the state association prior to that date. Rule 4-5-7, Weighing in. Contestants are no longer required to wear only low-cut socks to weigh in. Any style of socks can be worn while weighing in. Rule 5-1-1E, 2-point stalling, choice of position on next restart, has been deleted. Situation E has been deleted. A rule change from 2020 eliminates the situation that would allow the wrong wrestler to be given choice of position on the next restart following the 2-point stalling penalty. Rule 6-4-3, HNC timeout established. A separate injury timeout has been established for injuries that involve the head, neck, and cervical column. That timeout is to be referred to as HNC timeout. 6 separate rules have been adjusted or added to reflect the new HNC timeout. We will review each. With the HNC timeout being established, extended evaluation time, previously associated with injury timeout, no longer exists. When used, an HNC timeout does not count as one of the 2 injury timeouts. For example, if a competitor uses an injury timeout followed by an HNC timeout, the opponent does not get choice of position. Only one injury timeout has been used. Rule 6-4-3, HNC timeout added. Rule 6-4-3 identifies the HNC timeout as an additional timeout that may be used to stop the match. Rule 5-1-3F, HNC timeout during bad time. The new rule indicates that when an HNC injury timeout occurs during bad time, the HNC timeout will not be voided. This is the same as previously indicated for illegal acts and blood timeouts. Rule 5-28-3, recovery timeout. HNC timeouts are not associated with recovery timeouts. All injuries resulting from an illegal act are subject to recovery time only. Rule 5-28-6, timeout. A designated on-site appropriate healthcare professional can evaluate the injured athlete for up to 5 minutes during HNC timeout. A second use of HNC timeout will cause the wrestler to default the match. Rules 8-2-4B, 1 and 2, HNC evaluation procedure. When an appropriate healthcare professional, that being a physician or certified athletic trainer, is present, they can evaluate the HNC injury for up to 5 minutes. When one is not present, only injury time of up to 1 minute and 30 seconds can be used. CWOA timeout protocol when an appropriate healthcare professional is present. When injury is observed or indicated, time for injury and recovery timeouts will not start until the appropriate healthcare professional is at the mat. If there is no observed injury and a competitor or coach asks for an injury timeout, time is to be started immediately. If the competitor or coach then asks for the appropriate healthcare professional, injury time will be stopped and restarted when the appropriate healthcare professional is at the mat. Time for blood timeouts will start when action is stopped due to bleeding. HNC timeout can only be requested by the appropriate healthcare professional. If an HNC injury is caused by an illegal act, recovery time shall be used. An HNC timeout is not allowed Rule 5-28-3. CWOA timeout protocol when an appropriate healthcare professional is not present. Time for injury, blood, and recovery timeouts will be started as determined by the official. H&C timeouts are not available when there is no designated healthcare professional. Of note, blood timeouts take precedence over all other timeouts. Rule 8-2-4B1, Injury. In the absence of an appropriate healthcare professional, H&C injuries are to be addressed using an injury timeout. H&C timeouts may not be used when an appropriate healthcare professional has not been designated. Rule 8-2-4B2, Injury. The edit to this rule simply indicates the H&C timeout will be a maximum of 5 minutes, and during that time the appropriate healthcare professional may evaluate only head, neck, and cervical column injuries. Rule 8-2-6, Coaching during H&C timeout. Coaching is permitted during injury, blood, recovery, and H&C timeouts. 2 team attendants and the appropriate healthcare professional or professionals may attend to either wrestler. Rule 8-2-9, Imminent scoring when an injury occurs. When a match is stopped for injury, including H&C, and the referee determines imminent scoring, including near fall, would have been successful, the referee shall charge the appropriate timeout and award the applicable points to the non-injured wrestler. Following is a minor editorial change to the NFHS rulebook. Rule 6-3-1, Choice of position is not affected by forfeits. Which team has choice at the end of the first period is not affected by multiple forfeits during a dual meet. The rule previously only indicated forfeit, and the scenario of multiple forfeits created debate as to how choice of position was affected. Following are NFHS and CWOA points of emphasis for the 2021-2022 season. As reviewed in the new rules portion of the presentation, state associations will adopt one of 3 weight classification options for both boys and girls by July 1st, 2023. H&C timeout. The H&C timeout is the 5th occurrence in which a referee may stop a match. Other timeouts are blood, injury, recovery, and referees. H&C timeout gives an appropriate healthcare professional the ability to properly evaluate the wrestler. Stalling in the ultimate tiebreaker. This is an attempt by the NFHS to create understanding in respect to the difference between what is and what is not to be considered stalling by the offensive wrestler in the ultimate tiebreaker. While stalling can be penalized severely during the course of a match, the ultimate tiebreaker is a unique scenario in which the offensive wrestler is rewarded by maintaining control and riding out. Stalling by nature and by definition is something we do not reward during regulation time of a match, but the ultimate tiebreaker is a unique one-time situation that has different nuances. If no scoring occurs during the ultimate tiebreaker, the offensive wrestler is awarded a match point for riding out. Riding out is just that, riding. It simply means the offensive wrestler does not have to attempt to turn, but cannot repeatedly use obvious stalling tactics such as dropping to an ankle. CWOA point of emphasis number 1, wrestler's uniform. Rule 4-1 is specific in stating female contestants must wear a form-fitted, compression-suitable undergarment that completely covers their breasts. In many instances, a sports bra alone does not meet the requirement of completely covering the breasts. It is the responsibility of the coach to ensure his or her wrestlers are properly prepared to wrestle. It is the responsibility of the official to enforce the rules as written. A female contestant that does not meet the requirement of wearing an undergarment that completely covers their breast is to be penalized a technical violation for reporting to the scorer's table not properly equipped. An injury timeout will be charged, and the competitor will have available injury time to become properly equipped. The penalty could be issued prior to the start of wrestling or at any time during the course of wrestling. Enforcement of this rule has not consistently been applied during previous seasons. CWOA, point of emphasis number 2, near fall. Earning and awarding near fall points has been identified as a consistent deficiency among Colorado officials. Specifically, near fall points are being awarded when near fall criteria have not been met. Officials must know and thoroughly understand the 4 near fall criteria. The near fall count must be accurate when near fall criteria is met. Do not speed up your count in order to achieve a 5 count. The near fall count must start and stop as the opponent goes in and out of near fall criteria. Do not continue your count when the wrestler goes out of criteria just to avoid having to restart your count. Do not start a near fall count when you are unable to see if near fall criteria has been met. If positioning stays the same and you can now tell criteria had been met, start your count at the point you believe to be correct. For example, start at 2 if you think a second elapsed before you could actually see criteria had been met. CWOA, point of emphasis number 3, use of proper mechanics. The use of proper mechanics is an ongoing deficiency throughout the state of Colorado. It is essential only authorized signals be used, points be presented correctly, and officials confidently verbalize information. This is your way of communicating with the wrestlers, coaches, and fans. The more you communicate on the mat, the less you have to communicate with the coach at the scorer's table. The official must be in position to make the call. Do not become so concerned about looking calm, cool, and collected that you fail to hustle to get into position. If you have to run, then run. Do not be lazy just to look calm. For additional information and instruction, review presentations found under Referee Enhancement Program at www.cwoa.us. CWOA, point of emphasis number 4, appearance of officials. The appearance of officials is a sensitive subject. Because of that, it tends to be ignored and go unaddressed. Your appearance on and off the mat affects how people view your competency. You must exhibit a capable professional appearance. You owe it to yourself, coaches, and competitors to achieve a level of physical fitness that provides you the ability to work hard on the mat. A lack of fitness will not get you the benefit of the doubt in critical situations. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Proper attire on and off the mat speaks volumes about your integrity. If you look sloppy, the assumption will be that you officiate the same way. This concludes the rules presentation for the 2021-2022 wrestling season. The CWOA encourages you to use the Ask the Ref function on our website to get rule and situation clarifications that may arise throughout the season. For registered officials, please subscribe to our text alert option by texting capital CWOA to 781-728-9542. This will provide you with meeting reminders and important communications throughout the season. Thank you and have a wonderful season.